Hi, this is Mo St. Ange from SPS Spindle, and I'm here with our lead technician, Denton Dearborn. Denton is going to show us how to balance a spindle using our Balmac Balancer. One of the key features of the Balmac system is that you can balance without a trial weight. It just uses a timing light and it works very efficiently with all styles of spindles that we do at SPS Spindle.
So the first step you're going to want to do when balancing a spindle is make sure that you have rubber under each plane of the spindle, primarily where the bearings sit front and rear. You're going to notice on the Balmac that there's a probe 1 and a probe 2. 1 typically will always go in the front if you can, 2 in the back, just makes sense. You're going to want to make sure that the V-blocks are stable. I have this spindle right now locked down just on a little bit of pressure, just so that nothing goes wrong, nothing comes apart. It knows it's not going to move back and forth because it is sitting on rubber. I put a mark on the front of the shaft where the light probe is going to pick up. You can just put a reference mark anywhere on the front of that shaft as long as it's a part of the shaft that's actually spinning so that the light can pick it up. I have a piece of reflective tape in the taper so I can monitor my speed and make sure I'm in the same plane with this speed so we know we're all on the same path. So I know this is all locked down. I know what speed I'm going to start off at. I had run this spindle. I know this speed at around 8,000 is where I'm starting to get balanced, so it's a good starting point for picking up at that speed and starting the balance there. If you turn the Balmac on, the 1, if you can see it, is for speed from 0 to 100 or to 900. The middle one is your 10, so that goes up to 20,000. And then you can turn it to the 100, which will go up to 200,000 RPMs. So if you're balancing something over the RPMs of roughly 3,600 RPMs, you're going to want this button in velocity. Displacement is for balancing a spindle or motor or something like that under the RPMs of 3,600. This spindle is going 8,000, so I have it in velocity. Oscillate is for adjusting your fine tune from your light to your spindle to pick up your speed. I'm going to leave it on in. This is my function dial to get me into my RPMs. It'll get you within a couple RPMs when that green light comes on the speed you're doing. You can then turn it back to oscillate and you can fine tune it, and you're going to notice that the front of the shaft is going to be spinning slightly either direction, and you just want to fine tune it with this dial to get it to come as close to stop as possible. It doesn't have to completely stop, but you want it to be slowed down to almost stop. And then depending on which plane you're on, I'll be on number 1. I would mark a number 1 on the front of the spindle. I'd go to number 2, mark a number 2. I would see on here which was worse. The dial, goes up. The worse the spin balance is, the better it gets. The dial comes down. So let's say I was on number 1. The balance is worse in the front. I go to my number 1, line my mark up on my number 1, and you're going to add weight at your probe, or you're going to take weight off 180 from your probe. And that reference mark will tell you every time where your 1 is and where your 2 is.
I hope this video was helpful for you. If you need any further information, please look at our website at spsspindle.com.